of Karlene's Anime Corner, a St. Johns County Library podcast. And we're off to a great start.
Yay!
I am here with Zoe today, and we are going to talk about a romance anime just for your Valentine's Day listening pleasure.
Yay, and it's a romance that I actually didn't hate this time, which is a first.
Know. And we're going to have to discuss why you didn't hate it, because I think that's going to be a really fun discussion.
Because I don't know if we established this in earlier episodes, but I really don't like romance animes for a lot of reasons, and I have yet to find a romance anime. Before this show, I had yet to find a romance anime that I didn't fast forward through half the entire thing.
Yeah, well, and I have to admit, I have a lot of romance anime that I start watching and then lose interest in. This one had the advantage of being really short, which...
11 episodes.
10 technically, with an OVA episode that was a special when you bought the Blu-ray. So it never actually aired on TV. But anyway, before we dive into that, though, Zoe, it's been a while since we've gotten together. So have you had anything nerdy or fun happen?
Many things, actually. I cried at the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean finale. I cried like a baby. I called my friend in the middle of the night to yell about it. And we both yelled about it. She was laughing her butt off because she finished it before I did. So, yeah, that happened.
She was waiting for the crying.
She was waiting. Oh, no. But I bought Fire Emblem Three Houses for my Switch, and I played a bit of that. It's pretty fun, but I haven't touched it in a while because of school.
Yeah, school and work will put a damper on your nerd activities.
Yeah, I rearranged my room to make room for the absurd amount of ramen that I got from my family over Christmas. Because I let slip to my grandparents that I like eating ramen now, and they told everyone else, so I have an entire shelf full of just ramen, just boxes and boxes of ramen.
Have you been to any of the local Japanese restaurants and gotten ramen there?
No, because I don't know if a lot of them actually carry, like, vegetarian ramen.
I'd have to find out what the broth is.
We don't have very many Japanese restaurants. We have, like, one, and even then it's really overpriced, so
there's one up by Mirabella that I like.
I don't know where that is. I don't know where that is. I'll have to ask Mom about it.
Yeah, I will find out next time I go whether or not the broth is vegetarian for you.
What else? Oh, I also got garlic pho to go with it. Instant garlic pho.
That sounds dangerous.
Yes.
You're ready to ward off all the vampires with that one.
But I also, my gaming club at school held a competitive Pokemon championship tournament, and I won. Yay! I went completely undefeated.
That's awesome.
Despite learning competitive Pokemon over the span of 3 days before the tournament started. And I somehow made it through and won against half of the members who were competitive players since, like, freshman year. So,
wow.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
It was really insane, considering one of my Pokemon on my team was added as a joke and ended up being one of the strongest ones there on complete accident.
That's always the best when that kind of thing happens.
Yeah, it's just my Electros, his name's Eelbeat, and he swept. He survived so many hits he should not have, and he dodged so many attacks he should not have. But yeah. he won the whole thing. He got extra sandwiches.
Went a little insane, and I'm not allowed to spend any more money for the next 6 months because I had a lot of fun buying anime over this Christmas. And then I took stock of my anime collection, which is now getting close to 700 items. Not necessarily series items, because some of the series are more than one DVD. And I now have a New Year's goal of watching all of the anime that I own. I actually just finished one of my series last night, and it is the Grimm's Fairy Tale Masterpiece Theater. In 1989, Japan made a series of half-hour episodes based on the Grimm's Fairy Tales. And some of them got brought to the States, and some didn't, and I never saw it when it came to the States. It was very fun because there was an interesting mix of stuff, and there were times when I was like, that was influenced by Disney, that was influenced by the original Grimm, and I don't know where that came from.
On topic of fairy tales, watched the new Guillermo del Toro not Pokemon. Was I saying Pokemon? Pinocchio movie.
Yeah.
It is a masterpiece of stop-motion animation. The storytelling is unreasonably deep for what it is, and I love it. Only downside is there are a couple songs, and not all of them stick. But other than that, really good. Recommend it. Watch it, please.
Okay. Yeah, that is definitely on my list.
I think it's being nominated for an Oscar or something. I think it's being nominated for an Oscar. I'm 90% sure it's not nominated for an Oscar. Don't know.
I don't either. But anything I like that's nominated for an Oscar never actually wins it, so...
Yeah,
That's usually about the way it goes.
Because they don't like animation, which is crime.
Well, yeah, there's other reasons, which I complained about in the Spirited Away episode, so we're not going into that right now.
Yeah, let's continue.
Let's continue. Okay. So, yeah, I am enjoying my old anime from the 80s. See, and that's my problem with anime, is I buy anything that remotely looks interesting, but I don't always get around to watching it. So that's why I'm like, I have to sit down and watch all of it. So speaking of random things I find,
Ooh.
you texted me and asked me, how did you find this anime that we watched today? Shall I go into what this anime is now, you think?
Yeah, probably should, yeah.
Probably should. Okay, what we watched was a romance anime called Recovery of an MMO Junkie, subtitled Recommendation of the Wonderful Virtual Life. And no, it is not what you think by that title. It is not.
No.
In this anime, Moriko Morioka is a 30-year-old successful businesswoman, but she is done with her job. She quits. She gets rid of all her business clothes, and she pretty much decides she's going to play MMOs for the rest of her life.
She becomes a complete social recluse while recovering from burnout.
Exactly. And she randomly decides to play a dude online. She creates, as she puts it, her perfect hot guy.
Named Hayashi.
And while playing, she meets another character, a female character named Lily, and they become really close friends. And then, through a series of odd circumstances and remarkable coincidences, the two people that are playing these two characters online also meet in real life. And Lily is played by a guy. Recovery MMO Junkie, real quick, and you've pretty much already said you actually enjoyed this one, but do you have an official star rating you want to give it?
I would give it 4 stars.
4 stars?
Only missing 1 star because I feel it could have been a bit longer and they could have gotten certain parts more development.
This is an oddly short anime because it's only 10 episodes long with 1 OVA that was released with the Blu-ray.
Yeah. The reason for it being short is pretty understandable when you know the past and the history of the creator, but still maybe they could make an anime only edition or something, but even though it's a bit iffy whenever they do that.
So this anime is based on a manga written by Rin Kokyo, and apparently what happened is it was coming out on an online web service, and then it had to go on hiatus because the creator was sick or something.
Had some pretty bad health issues.
Yeah, had some health issues, and then after several years they just declared the manga finished. So it never actually got an official ending. So I think the ending we get in the anime is actually pretty good considering.
It's pretty ambiguous.
It is,
and it leaves a lot to the imagination, but it still somehow feels really sweet. There's no exact closure, but it still feels really cute and sweet.
It leaves you at that sweet moment where things haven't had a chance to really go wrong yet.
Yeah, and I love that. I love it. Just lets you imagine things going really well for them.
I had a lot of debating on a 3.5 or a 4. And I think I finally come down on a 4 on this one because I have now watched it 3 times and I have liked it every single time. So I think that gives it bumps it up a half step to a 4.
Yeah, and I think the whole the whole game aspect isn't even the main part of it, really.
It's not, which it was really funny because I was on My Anime List, a website where a whole bunch of people review anime and stuff. And if you ever want to go down a black hole, start browsing that website. And there were some people who loved this anime because they liked the mix of the real world and the gaming. And there are other people who are like, once they left the game world, it wasn't for me. And I was like, okay.
It's the game world isn't really supposed to be the main focus.
No, it's not supposed to be the premise. It's
supposed
an
to be just
setting.
It's just supposed to be kind of a setup, really.
Yeah, well, and it adds a lot to the comedy of the series because this is definitely a romantic comedy.
Oh, 100%. Morioka is. Oh, I love her. Oh,
I love Sakurai too, and his friend Koiwai. Okay.
Koiwai? Is it Koiwai?
That sounds right. Koiwai.
They say it Koiwai. Where is it? Where's your notes?
Where's my notes? Here we go. Koiwai. Yeah,
it's Koiwai.
Yeah, and I have watched this in English, but to be honest, I don't remember much about the English because that was a while ago, and I rewatched it this time in Japanese. The Japanese voice actor for Koiwai was perfect, spot on.
Yeah, him and Moriko. Moriko and his voice actor are they're so good. They're so good.
They are perfect. So I highly recommend this in Japanese. All right, and
I just love how Moriko's, I keep wanting to say Morioka for some reason. Moriko's voice actor, it just has that perfect edge of raspiness to it.
Mm-hmm. Like she's been up all night playing video
Like
games.
she's been up all night, she's been drinking the wrong stuff, or she just hasn't talked in like years out loud.
Yeah. Before we go, full spoilers on this though. Opening and closing song. Would you add them to your playlist or not?
The first one, probably.
The opening song?
I love the opening song.
I do too. The closing song, there's parts of it I really like, but there were moments where I felt the instrumental part got too loud with the singing part. Like it drowned out the singer.
felt it a little bit generic to me.
Yeah, it was more generic. There were certain parts though where I was like, oh, that's a little. That
I love the opening, like da-na-na, da-na-na,
yeah.
da-na-na, da-na-na.
Well, I love the fact they start the opening by doing character creation. Like
I love
really
that
fast splurge of
really fast character creation for like all the side characters and everyone. It's really good. It's really good. I like it. I never skipped it.
I skipped it a few times, but that was mostly because I was watching 3 episodes in a row, so it's like I'd skip it once and then listen to it again. But yeah, I think definitely the opening song I would definitely put on my playlist for this. One day we're going to have to do an episode where we just run through our top 10 playlist anime songs from what we've watched.
I've got a good chunk of really good openings.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Spy Family was a bit better. So let us dive into our spoiler moments. So if you have not seen the show, we highly recommend you stop listening now, possibly even 5 minutes ago, because we are now going to hold back from spoiling anything.
Yeah, because you can't really talk about all the characters without spoiling too much of them.
Oh, yes. So shall we start with some of the side characters of her guild?
I want to talk about Moriko more. I really like Moriko, and one of my favorite moments in the entire show is a moment of hers. I really like her. She's just so wonderful.
So this is a unique romance anime in the fact that our main characters,
Moriko and
it
Sakurai. It's right here.
Oh, Moriko. Okay, Morioka. Yeah. Yeah, her name is Morioka, so one of the characters actually keeps calling her Mori, which I found myself doing all the time too. So if we call her Mori, that's why. That's one of her nicknames in the thing. But so what did you like about her so much?
I just like the fact that she was generally pretty mature. And also, she's one of the most socially anxious characters I've ever seen on a TV show before, ever. Like, oh my, this woman, she cannot talk to anybody without blue screening at least 3 times.
Yeah, she gets so embarrassed so quickly, and she's shy, and she's fumbling. But what I found fascinating was Kawai apparently used to work with her, but they never met face to face. And apparently she wrote some kind of like paper thing on delivery processes for her old job. And Sakurai, the main male lead,
Koiwai is Sakurai's best friend, by the way. I don't think
best friend and boss, I think, in some ways. He's his older coworker.
And also a meddling trickster.
Yes. That describes him perfectly. Thank you. I was trying to figure out how to define
I have
him.
another word that
meddling trickster is a good one because he keeps them both on their toes and they never know what's going to happen with him around. Because
Sakurai, I feel like Sakurai is like half reining him in and half being dragged along.
And I think it's a good thing because Kawai, those two are very shy, very socially awkward, and they both really want to get to know each other, but they never would have if it wasn't for
Koiwai, yeah, he's like the main reason they actually like talk.
Yeah.
In real life.
So what was you were saying? What was your favorite moment with Mori?
So Mori, she's talking in the game world as Hayashi with Lily. And there's this really big emotional moment where they're talking about like how much they like being friends and stuff and how much they want to stay together and everything like that. And in the game, Hayashi starts crying. And then it hard cuts to Morioka sobbing at her keyboard and spamming the cry emote.
I did like that moment because it was just like
she's just
hitting the button.
She's just spamming the cry emote while sobbing at her computer. And then there are multiple times where it just cuts away to Mori in the real life. So say Lily would be like, "Oh, I want to be partners forever," and she'll just like, I don't know, stand up from her computer, go to her mini fridge, grab a beer, and then chug the whole thing, and then sit back down.
Yeah. One of my favorites though is one of her nervous tics is when she lives in a very tiny 1-room apartment, pretty much. So it's all one room.
It's
a desk, a bed, and that's pretty much it. and she has this big old rug in there. Well, apparently she doesn't have a vacuum because she just uses a lint roller to clean her rug. And every time she gets really nervous and overwhelmed by something, she starts cleaning with that lint roller. And there's one time where she's just so stressed out, she's sitting at the computer using the lint roller on herself. And I was just like, oh dear, I think I killed Zoe.
No, it's my throat.
Well, making you laugh doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. Mori, I love her. She's...
Yeah, she is, and just that little, the way the voice actress portrays, like, when she's, like, doesn't know what to do, and that little, noise that she makes. And then her hair kind of, like, floats up at the same time. It's just, like, this whole, like, shock, surprise, I don't know what to do.
And she's just...
And that's the blue screen moment, which happens a lot.
She I can use the term blue screen because she's a gamer, so, like, she blue screens every single episode because something happens that just causes her to just freeze up. Yeah. And another one of my favorite moments concerning her, we should talk about side characters after this, but is when the kind of meet cute, sort of, because in a lot of anime they have like there's like one character is late, so they come running and they run into the other character and it's weird and they fall on top of him and it's kind of awkward. But in this version, Morioka is deadly sick with a cold, so she's just kind of hobbling her way to the convenience store.
She's also been up all night.
She's also been up all night, so it's not any better. So she's like half awake, walking down the street, and then Sakurai comes running around the corner, and he just elbows her in the face so hard she immediately passes out.
Unconscious.
And he gets so freaked out that he just immediately takes her to the hospital to check for head trauma. So, like, yeah, it's just like, gone are the days of running into them and being awkward. No, Morioka just gets elbowed in the face and just completely conks out.
Yeah, and I love Sakurai's worry about her and everything. And it was really funny because it was like, that was the beginning of... That wasn't the first time they met, but
the other time was when they both tried to order convenience store chicken. They both wanted to get chicken. They just didn't end up touching it.
Yeah.
Because we should mention that Sakurai is also one of the most... He's not as anxious as Morioka, but he's still pretty bad at socializing.
I think he's mostly bad maybe with girls, because he seems to do okay with Kawai.
It's probably because they knew each other so often, so he's more comfortable around him.
True.
And we
don't really see Sakurai interacting with other people.
But we can assume that he's able to handle his work life, so he probably is good at interacting with like customer service and stuff.
Yeah.
But like whenever he's talking to Morioka though.
Well, that was Morioka though too, because she was really good at her job, because they mentioned that she was very good at it.
Well, then there's also the scene where she calls Koiwai, where she answers Koiwai's call and starts crying on the phone when he asks if she's tired. So like,
well, it was 2 a.m. in the morning.
It was also true. It was also 2 a.m. in the morning,
and that I think was at peak of overworked Mori. So,
but like, just listen, the dynamic of having the two main leads just being really, really bad at talking to people, and yet it somehow works out really well in the end. It's so satisfying.
And that's where the gaming life comes in, because Morioka is terrible in the real world at talking with people and having conversations and making friends. But she goes to play an online game and she makes friends. She has a guild. She has fun.
She has an entire group that she just kind of vents to sometimes.
Yeah, and hangs out with.
And she has a best friend.
And it's really funny when she asks Lily, who is actually Sakurai, what she should wear to her date with drinks with Sakurai.
With Sakurai and his best friend.
And then Kanbei, who is their guild leader, happens to know that Lily is a guy. And apparently Lily / Sakurai was trying to use Kanbei to get out of this situation, and Kanbei is just like, nope. I'm not helping you.
I'm giving you my recommendation. Now you give me yours.
Yeah.
And think about Kanbei is he's also in real life. He's again with the series of improbable coincidences. Kanbei, the player behind Kanbei, is
the convenience store clerk that they had the argument with the chicken in front of.
The convenience store clerk of the exact same quote unquote not Lawson's that Morioka frequents for her all of her food.
They call it Cowsons.
They call it Cowsons. So it's just this whole thing is happening, and then there's just the convenience store, like the what's the word? The clerk. He's just sitting behind the counter watching all of this happen, and he's just like, should I intervene?
Yeah,
I should check up on her.
What I like with all of this is that you really only find out who 3 of the characters are in real life, and even in the anime though, like Kanbei knows who Morioka is that Morioka is Hayashi. I don't know if Kanbei
Hayashi.
All right, Kanbei is not his name in game or real life game.
It is his name in game.
Okay, Kanbei is his name in game. His real name is Kazumi Fujimoto.
Let's call him Fujimoto.
So Fujimoto knows that Lily is a dude, but doesn't know who Lily is in real life.
But he knows who
Morioka is in real life, and that she's playing Hayashi. So it's very interesting that they allow some people to know some things, and I still wonder if eventually they don't tell him, if Sakurai doesn't tell him.
And we don't know the other guild members either in real life at all. We know only about like really 3 of them, like you said. The other ones,
one of Lilac, I think.
There's Lilac, Pokotaro, Himerelda, and Harumi. I think.
Well, Harumi was Kawai's character that he made.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot that happened for a minute there. Yeah. That's also why it's at 4 stars.
Yeah. Oh, Kawai should not be allowed to make a character in an online game ever.
No. I mean,
ever.
He's got it's very clear he's got a type, but like, and I mean, I respect it, but still.
So to continue on with Sakurai, because we've talked a lot about Mori here and her trauma from her work, and that she's just decided.
Sakurai still has a job.
Sakurai is still working. Now Morioka, she does say she has savings, because remember,
she's got. I think we can assume she has a lot of savings.
She probably has some savings, and there's got to be something else going on. And it doesn't look like she spends a lot of money on stuff, to be honest.
Probably just like the basic essentials and occasionally in-game currency.
Yeah. Well, especially when there's a gachamon machine going on.
There's a loot box.
There's
event.
A loot box, and she wants it all. Although Sakurai is even worse about that as Lily, because Lily will spend money until she gets everything.
But he's got a job, so it's a little bit less terrifying.
Well, so what we find out about Sakurai is that he is still working. He is 28, so he's 2 years younger than Mori. And he is Kawai's, I guess
they're really good friends.
They work
but
together too. So, and Kawai, I think, is slightly over him because he says that he's like his elder coworker or something like that is how they phrase it.
Yeah.
So it's like he's a little bit more experienced.
He's like a
than
supervisor
him.
or something.
Yeah, I don't know if he's supervisor or just like he's been with the company longer and showed him the ropes type idea.
It might be that one because I can't see him being anyone's boss, to be honest. I mean, he would love that, but
he is very good at manipulating things to get what he wants.
True.
True.
So I do like the tiny detail of Sakurai being younger than Morioka because we don't really see that a lot in anime.
No,
the male of interest being younger than the female.
And it's not such a huge age difference.
No, it's not.
It feels awkward.
It's only 2 years. They're both adults.
But Sakurai apparently got into gaming because he again has trouble making friends also. And he has naturally blonde hair, which apparently he got made fun of for and had trouble fitting in because of.
Japan.
Yeah, which you can see that. Yeah. And also he had incredibly elderly parents who adopted him, which is a very weird story. And I want to know more about this backstory of his because his adopted parents had this huge, magnificent Japanese manor house, pretty much.
Yeah, it had like a garden, like a stone garden and everything.
Yeah, and he's I don't know if he sold the house or rented it out because
I think he sold it.
Okay.
One thing I do that wish we did is got a bit more of Sakurai.
Yeah.
In his home life.
That we could have done with a bit more of. But yeah, he's probably got money also from that, which is why Lily is very happy to get every single outfit in the game. I do like the scene where they're trying on clothes.
And it's revealed she owns literally every outfit in the game.
She's like, I need to clean out my storage. You guys want to come and check out all my clothing? And they're like, yes. So that's Sakurai. He's just he's quiet but good at his job, blonde-haired, and apparently has money.
Apparently he's got bucks. So Morioka
is really nice.
Morioka, if you want to stay with him for a bit longer, then you'll be set.
Yeah. And he's really nice because he was really concerned about her when he knocked her out. Like, he sat at her hospital bed until she woke up.
I still can't get over how their meet cute is him just
knocking
her out. You might as well have just punched her.
Pretty much did. He elbowed her right in the forehead.
And and he took her right to the hospital because he freaked out so much. And I just, yeah. He's very considerate. He's also very nervous. It's just they're both really nervous. It's just so silly watching them.
They're endearingly nervous.
They're both dorks. They're just complete dorks, both of them. Like I remember just like these two, they'll be talking, like having really nice, easy conversation. Like in the bonus episode, there's a scene where he's like helping her build a new gaming PC, and it's really sweet. And then he accidentally says like, "Hey, we should go to a hot spring together." And they both because they both
short circuit.
They both just short circuit because
and then they're like, "We'll take Kowai with us." And I'm like, I don't know if that makes
no. I wish they showed us what happened there because knowing him, he would do some dastardly things over there.
That was the OVA episode where they had some extra.
Yeah, it's just these two. They'll be having nice and easy conversation. Then one of them will say something that if you squint and turn it to the left a little bit, it could be seen as somewhat suggestive. But they'll both completely overthink it and just completely blue screen, completely just like internet connection is lost.
All right, so we have Hayashi and Lily, but we have some other members of their guild that we got to meet. The main one being Kanbei, who's the guild leader. And then we have, what's his name? Pokotaro
and Himerelda. Or they call him Hime. They call him Hime.
Yeah. And they are, they apparently are a married couple in real life.
Yeah.
Because at one point, Pokotaro turns around and talks to Kanbei in Himerelda's voice. And Kanbei is like, I really hate it when you guys switch characters. I know you're married, but that's not right.
Which, it does add a bit more depth to them. Because Pokotaro and Himerelda are mostly just like the supportive, like, friends.
Yeah,
really.
They're just occasionally throwing a word of advice. And
though
comfort.
I think the whole they were married in real life thing was implied in the opening.
Yeah.
Because with Pokotaro, he's like fishing, and then Himerelda comes up behind him, and they like smile at each other, and it's pretty much implied, they're in a relationship. But it just adds a bit more depth to them. There's also Lilac, who's like the girl who...
She's the college student?
The college student who cannot keep her mouth shut.
No, she shares every secret she hears, and I think she was developing a crush on Hayashi, to be honest. At one episode, they pretty much hinted she was developing a crush on Hayashi.
Also, I want that pillow she has.
Oh, the cat one?
The cat pillow. She's got this big body-sized cat pillow, and I really want it. It looks really nice.
Yeah, that's the other thing she does when she stresses out is she starts hugging the pillow. And she's just like, help.
She's just screaming into it.
But my favorite is still, like, there'll be some awkward scene on the computer. She'll get that little blue screen look on her face. And the next scene, she's cleaning the rug.
She's just cleaning the rug. I also, in the MMO world, I also want to appreciate how all the enemies are, like, hamsters. Like giant hamsters.
To be honest, for an MMO world, there is nothing scary that they're fighting in this thing. It's like giant hamsters. I think there was a capybara or something.
Capybara. There's a giant dragon, but it's like a cutesy dragon.
It's a cutesy dragon. This is definitely a game that is not meant to like feel realistic or terrify or anything. No. But
but it does want you to spend their money.
It does. It definitely, because it's got lots of cute outfits.
And I forgot to bring this up, but just like I really like how they portray the whole online friendships thing in the MMO and stuff, because I've had friendships like that myself. With my very first social internet experience was on a website called Scratch, which is like it's social media but for little kids, and it's based around animation and stuff. You like make little animations and stuff. It's got a pretty strong community, and I would go on there and just mess around in the roleplay servers. And I had a pretty strong friend group for up until, I think, what's the sophomore year of high school? Before, well, no, it was actually freshman year because COVID caused everything to go worse. Because I know COVID being online, it makes it last longer or something like that. You have more time with them, but it's just things got more difficult to manage, and I just ended up slowly drifting away from them. So, Flame Tigress, Alan Walker D, if you're still out there, I miss you guys. Love ya.
There's a guy named after DeGray, man. That's awesome. With all the online gaming, one of the things I thought they did a really good job portraying in the series was that they were in a game. because sometimes when they start doing an anime that's in a game, you start getting that isekai feel, like the game is the real world. And here they never actually made you think that the game was the real world.
Like, they do things that people do in game. Like, they have, like, emotes.
I love the fact when they're sitting in the bushes. That's one of the ones, because I've done that before.
Where you just go into, like, a bush and
you just sit down, and you always see your head and your feet sticking out, and it's just
Or, like, when a character spawns in, they spawn inside of another character.
Yeah.
Or, like, when they hit the emote button, a little speech bubble appears above their heads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or when they go offline or something and your character just stands there. That happens to poor Kawai's character a lot. He's very bad at paying attention to what he's doing in a game.
And then the people of the guild, they start placing items around him and like messages and stuff.
Yeah, I never quite understood the whole plates of food thing. Maybe that's
the thing you do in games where I do it in a couple games myself, where whenever a character goes AFK, like for example, this is a very niche example, but in Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, as an Xbox game, whenever one of my my character I always played had the ability to place little spike traps. So whenever a character went AFK, I would just surround them with spike traps.
Okay, so
and I'd occasionally make a smiley face out of spike traps, or
this one they did an SOS at one point around Harumi, which was
it's a thing that people do when they have like the ability to place down items. They just kind of surround AFK players.
Never really
and
played a lot of multiplayer games like that.
Yeah,
so.
I didn't play as many, but I played one, so I can understand a lot of the appeal and stuff.
There is a Lord of the Rings online game I've been very tempted to try out.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's been going for like 10 years now.
Watch it. You're going to get caught in League at some point. No. You may get caught in League.
I'm not very good at games, so... So we talked about their friends. We talked a little bit about this. We talked a little bit about that. Oh, some of the things I forgot to say about this anime. It came out in 2017.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize it was that recent.
Yeah, it's a fairly recent one. Not very, very recent.
Oh, we could talk about...
Well, you asked me through a text message, how did you find this anime? Because not advertised anywhere, not really well
I've
known.
never heard of it before you showed me.
It's a very unusual... It was a very... This is called The Reason Why I Watch a Little Bit of Everything. A lot of times when I have time, I like watching like the first couple episodes of everything that comes out on a season. I don't always have time. Like the last couple of years, I really haven't had a lot of time to do that. But this was one where I watched the first couple episodes and I went, oh, this is really cute. I like this. And that's how I found it. It was one of the few series I actually watched that season when it came out.
Okay.
And then I kept an eye out for it when it came out on disc. And I was like, okay, it's now mine. But yeah, so this is the advantage of me kind of sporadically checking everything, even though it doesn't necessarily look like something I want to watch, because I occasionally find little treasures like this.
One thing I will mention that I did like and found kind of interesting about the show is the animation style. Because like it's pretty clear a lot of heart did go into it. Because like you'll have like standard like couple frames, and then it just goes to like 15 frames a second for like certain movements. Like a character will they'll freak out and it'll just get really smooth for a sudden, or they'll walk, or they'll turn a corner and it gets really smooth, and it's just like for the really important moments.
Yeah, they did a good job balancing out where they put the animation work into it.
And the art style, it's teetering on the edge of generic anime, but also it has little bits into it that make it really neat.
It's got little details that make it feel more alive.
Yeah.
Like the fact that Morioka has a small mole on her chin.
Yeah, she's got a little small mole on her chin. She's got bags under her eyes almost the entire time. Her hair is almost always really messy until she cuts it.
Yeah. And even when she cuts it, that you can tell when she styled it a certain way, or she's just let it do whatever. They paid a lot of attention to little details like that. Sakurai always looks well put together. I don't know why. Maybe it's because he's a guy.
It's probably because he's just so focused. He has a job, so he's probably more used to taking care of himself.
True. But he hasn't given up on getting. I love it when they do like an overview of her clothes, and it's like level 3 bedroom slippers and stuff, and she's like
level 100 college sweatshirt.
Yeah, she starts seeing like her self-image as an MMO character and how she's just not ready for this encounter.
One thing I do like about his Sakurai is you could tell one of his nervous tics is adjusting his glasses.
Yes,
his nervous tic is just pushing up his glasses or adjusting it or tilting it or just kind of pulling I think in one scene he gets like so nervous he takes his glasses off and just kind of starts cleaning them a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of the typical like evil or manipulating, scheming anime character that always does like the glasses push up right before they start.
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah,
but no, he does that.
He does it out of sheer nervousness.
He does it out of terror. And I do just appreciate like I like the facial expressions they do for it. Like, they'll have, like, the generic stuff, and then they just gets, like, to, like, a chibi-ish art style, and then it just gets really expressive, it gets vibrant, it gets squishy.
It's the case where I would argue that in some ways an animated series like this can show emotion a lot more, because you see a lot, they can be more expressive than even, because if a real life person did some of the expressions that these people did, it would look like they're insane. They would just look like there's do you need to see a doctor for that?
Do you have some facial muscles we should know about?
Yeah, but they can do it in an anime, and it expresses the emotion you need to know about it without feeling like it's I can't say it right. I don't know. It allows it to be more expressive without taking you out of the story.
Yeah.
I guess
it's
is
more
what I'm trying to
immersive.
say.
It's immersive.
Yeah, it's a more immersive way of showing emotion that you can do with animation than you can do with real life.
And I don't. There's just so many small things about this show that I like.
As I said, I think this is a small treasure that got overlooked, and if you're interested in romance anime, this is definitely one you should check out. It's still available streaming on Crunchyroll. Do not be fooled. I don't know why the Crunchyroll app has started doing this, but it'll tell you there's 13 seasons. What it means is there's 13 dubs. It's not 13 seasons of the same anime. And then you have to start doing which one is the Japanese one? Which one is the Portuguese one? Which one is the... Oh my gosh.
Which one's
Crunchyroll,
Spanish?
please. Anyway, just personal pet peeve I've started having with Crunchyroll lately is they need to fix this. You need to be able to like set your main languages and just hide the rest of them or something. I do not need to know there's 13 different dubs for this one anime.
I'm surprised I got that many dubs, to be honest.
Crunchyroll. That's all I can say, because it seems like anything that hits Crunchyroll starts getting extra dubs. All right, as we get ready to wrap up here, any last moment thoughts that you think we didn't cover sufficiently?
We didn't talk about Koiwai too much. We talked about him, but...
He's definitely a meddling trickster. He likes Mori Mori a lot, even though he's never met her face-to-face until the gas station. Or the
They meet in the convenience store, by the way.
Yeah, convenience store.
And the cashier is just like, wait, should I intervene?
Is this like some guy like hitting on her that she doesn't want anywhere near her? And then Mori finally realizes, I actually know who he is.
And he's like, okay, fine.
Because they had never met face to face, and he's seen a picture of her in like a newsletter or something through their corporate, but she's never seen a picture of him. So yeah, that was another one of those weird coincidences that happens throughout this series.
Koiwai is evil.
He's
evil.
Very evil, but he does it for good.
He's got good intentions. He's got questionable processes, but good intentions.
He loves trying to make he keeps calling Sakura-chan. Sakura-chan, like he's a little girl or something. But he loves making him think that he's going to date Mori. And he does it on purpose.
He knows how much Sakurai likes her, so he's just trying to rile him up, really.
Yeah, he's just doing it.
And it doesn't always work, but sort of, but doesn't really.
I also wonder sometimes if he isn't doing it just because he wants Sakurai to finally come out and tell Mori how he feels, and he's like, well, maybe if I keep pushing this button, he'll finally decide to do it just so I'll stop trying to date her. Well, as I said, he never does anything actually untoward to Mori Mori.
No, he doesn't.
So...
He even compliments her a few times, and it's actually pretty sweet.
Yeah, and I think he helps give her confidence in a weird sort of way.
He kind of eases her back into talking to regular people.
Mm-hmm. All right,
even though he is
we've
beyond
decided
regular.
that probably Kawhi would be a horrible person, but he has redeeming qualities.
He has some redeeming qualities.
And he's apparently good at his job because he gets sent away on business trips.
Yeah, I mean...
So he's good with people.
How are he and Sakurai friends? Like, how are they friends?
I would love to have seen that meet up at some point.
I have a feeling it's in the same vein as he ran into Sakurai, like, oh, new target, and just didn't stop following him around.
Prey has arrived. I can tease the life out of this
I feel like they're friends mostly because Koiwai just didn't want to leave him alone.
Yeah, that's probably most likely it. We've talked Koiwai now, so I think this is a good place to call it quits.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Not much else to say, really. It's pretty short and simple and sweet.
It's a very short, sweet, simple romance story with some endearing characters. Leaves you a little bit on the cliffhanger, but it does leave you at I think, a fairly good ending.
It's fairly sweet. They
accidentally start holding hands, and they just kind of walk off blushing together.
They just kind of walk off to a restaurant just blushing, like stiff-backed, very nervous.
Trying to acknowledge the fact they're actually going on a date because neither one will actually say the word.
Yeah.
All right.
I love these two. They're so dumb.
Thank you for joining us today as we talked about Recovery of an MMO Junkie, a little hidden treasure in the world of Crunchyroll. And if you have any thoughts or comments about this series, if you've seen it, please feel free to email me at the email address in the show notes. And if you like this show, please tell your friends about it and let them know that there's a local Florida anime show that they can listen to. And Zoe?
All right.
Have any last thoughts?
Not really.
No?
No,
Okay.
I think I'm fine.
Well then,
watch Pinocchio.
watch Pinocchio?
Watch
Okay,
Pinocchio.
That's your catchword for today. Anyway, so enjoy the new season of anime, and until next time, bye.
Bye. That was weird.